In this episode, I want to share with you some kind of setup that I made in Blender. It's basically using spatial nodes. So all these nodes gives me the ability to change the matcap simply by scribing the timeline. So how did I get here? I want to take you through all the process. There's one caveat at the moment, because at the very end here, this node, exec node mode, will change the layout matcap. But really, it depends on the context. Currently, it's looking at all the layout, and areas number 3, which happens to be my 3D view, will indeed change the matcap. But if I make this like full screen and run the playback, it will not change. Maybe if I want that to work, I need to make this area to 0. Oh no, still doesn't work. So, but that's one caveat. But other than that, this one, if I make it full screen like this, it will not work as well. But it works with this view. If I didn't change anything, if I change the layout, this will not work. It depends. So how did I get to here? Actually, I looked through. First of all, I try by changing the matcap from here, and then I look at the history and look at this, and then I was thinking, okay, this is pretty simple, right? We just type this command, and then it will change the matcap. So apparently, it doesn't work like that. So in order to do this, we need to actually kind of digging inside BPY data screens, and we have to do it this way. We have to go inside the area and spaces, and then if we manage to get into the 3D view, spaces, shading, studio light, and then we can change the matcap. So it's slightly complicated in that way. So we need to first get the list of all the matcaps. I install some of my own matcaps, and actually from the internet, and there are some that I made myself. Basically, you just install and then provide a PNG or EXR, and it will be listed here. So the library for matcaps will grow. So that's one. But in order to get the list of all the matcaps, you actually need to know a bit of Python. So I found out about this at Blender Stack Exchange. Someone asked how to list all the matcaps and studio lights using Python, and username BATFinger answered it. So basically, you can access it by going into bpy.context.scene. So you get into the scene, and the context preferences actually give you the studio lights, and then it will give you back what's important here is the name and the type. So once you get to this part, you just need to get the list of all matcaps and then simply assign it. In this case, I'm using the exec node modes. So I'm translating all this Python script. It's actually like kind of like a macros into a nodes. So this is my result over here. So I know the fact that we can change the studio light simply by running this and then the name of the matcaps. So what I did at the very beginning, first get the list of all the studio lights from the context preference. If I use the stethoscope, here. So this exec node mode with append bpy.context preferences studio lights with this list which marking. So we're gonna get this BPY structure Studio Light. So this is the object path into the Studio Light Matcap. Okay, cool. So the next thing I did was using list delete level. So I'm deleting all the unnecessary stuff, just the list of the Studio Lights object. And then the next one I did was separating the name and the type. So we know that there's a type Matcap, there's type Studio and type of world. We just need to have the Matcap. So with the name here, so with the type, we're gonna get the list of the Studio, either Studio or Matcap or world. And then here I'm using list join. I'm joining the list once again. I'm using exact node mode once again. And here for each and every item in the list, this is this one v1 with the index 0, actually looking at each object. So this node will kind of loop and gonna give you the output of true and false. True if the type is Matcap, false if not Matcap. So I'm using this list, Boolean list, to do the masking. So this is object ID filter. So once again, I start with this all the way, and there's an object ID set that I use to get the name and the type. So now from the list of name and then the Boolean list, I can mask what I don't need. So I end up with only 34 Matcaps. And with that 34 list of Matcaps name, I'm using list item to get into a single name of the Matcap. Yeah, so that's my explanation. So basically we can get the name of the Matcap. There we go. So that's all the name of the Matcap I have. So currently we have 34, but I can try adding a couple of more Matcaps. So we have 34. I'll install a couple more from documents and Matcaps. This is from Pushing Points. I think it was originally for Cinema 4D. I'm gonna add a couple more. So install, get this guy, install, get this cool. Okay, now we have more Matcaps, and then what's gonna happen, this thing will update. So now we have 37 Matcaps. 37, 0 to 36 is 37. So now we have a couple of extra Matcaps that we can use. So now I can play back this. So yeah, like I said before, maybe there's a caveat. The only issue is that we need to look at the area and then kind of find out whether we are in the right context. Spaces 0, space view 3D. So maybe if I make this 0, playback, let me try 1. One of these should work. I don't know why this one doesn't work. 4, 5, 6. I have a feeling this number, one of this number should eventually works. But for this layout, areas number 3 is 3D view, and it's changing the matcap. So yeah, at least this one works. So if I made any changes to the screen, this number might need to change. So yeah, that's how I get it from Python code, turn it into nodes, something that I can understand, easy. From this visual nodes, it's actually possible to just change it into a couple of Python script lines, simplify the whole thing. But this is the process that I went through just to understand how to change the matcap, which is interesting because in the future, maybe you make your own Python script and then add on just to change the matcap this way. I mean, you can do this by hand, but you need to always go there and then change it manually one by one. Why not we have it just simply plugging the frame into the matcap index or something. All right, so hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what to think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.